Greetings everyone out there in YouTube land. Hope your day is going well. This video is going to be about some of the movies leaving Tubi for February. All movies are leaving by the end of the month, and it is your last chance to see these films for free on Tubi. I'm going to go from lowest to highest score this month, and I'm also going to mix the IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes score to tally a median. Get it? IMDb plus Rotten Tomatoes equals the median score. Okay, first movie on the list is China Moon, a 1994 American thriller directed by John Bailey and starring Ed Harris and Benicio del Toro. I've seen it. It's a dark, sultry murder mystery echoing film noir vibes. Ed Harris gives some strong performances in the beginning, but it weakens as the movie progresses. I think the plot line was subpar and could have been better. Moral of the story, don't go after married or relationship women. It usually leads to bad news. I only stuck around to find out what happened to him in the end. The movie rates at a 6.3 on IMDb and a 37% on Rotten Tomatoes, giving it an overall score of a 4.9 median. Up next on the list for movies leaving Tubi is Geronimo from 1962, an American Western film directed by Arnold Lavin, starring Chuck Connors and Adam West. The movie takes place following the events leading up to the final surrender of Geronimo during the Apache U.S. conflict in 1886. Really want to see it for a history flick, but with those low scores, I'm expecting it to be kind of a grind. I heard the Connors Indian has blue eyes and a lot of people didn't like it. It's got a 5.8 out of 10 on IMDb and a 41% on Rotten Tomatoes, giving it a 5.0 medium score. Next movie up on the list is Gator from 1976, the sequel to White Lightning. Gator is an action comedy film directed by and starring Burt Reynolds. The setting is a fictional backwoods swampland environment. It's a good old boy movie, and it gets a 5.9 out of 10 on IMDb and a 43% on Rotten Tomatoes, giving it a 5.2 median score. I haven't seen it yet. Next movie on the list is Life Stinks from 1991, written, directed, and starred by Mel Brooks. A rich businessman loses it all to discover life's ultimate brutal truth. Life stinks. It's described as a mediocre slapstick and dark comedy. It may grind at the halfway mark. The movie gets a 5.9 on IMDb and a 45% on Rotten Tomatoes, giving it an overall 5.2 median score. Next movie on the list is the 2003 horror movie Freddy vs. Jason, starring Robert Englund and Ken Kirzinger from the Friday the 13th series. Freddy Krueger wakes Jason Voorhees up from his sleep to attack more teenagers. Not an incredibly scary movie and not a serious movie. The acting is subpar except for Robert Englund. It's a fun flick though, with the same silly Freddy one-liners. This movie gets a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes audience score and a 5.7 on IMDb, giving it an overall 5.3 median score. Next movie on the list is Motel Hell, a horror movie directed by Kevin Connor and stars Rory Calhoun and Nancy Parson. Nancy Parson played Miss Ballbreaker in Porky's. I like this movie, and it scared me as a kid. It gets a 6.0 out of 10 on IMDb and 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, giving it an overall 5.5 median score. Next movie on this list is Beyond the Black Rainbow, a 2010 Canadian science fiction horror movie starring Michael Rogers and Eva Allen. It takes place in a secluded New Age commune and a state-of-the-art research facility which is doing research on Ilana, a female subject possessing telekinetic and telepathic abilities. The color schemes and lens tricks provide a sufficient moodiness and uneasiness throughout the film. If you're into experimental films, you may appreciate it. It's slow-paced, however, and it loses its momentum halfway through, so there you go. It gets a 6 out of 10 on IMDb and a 52% on Rotten Tomatoes, which gives it a 5.6 on the median scale. Next movie on the list is Rob Zombie's Halloween from 2007, a remake of the original Halloween horror movie. The audience is given a deeper glimpse into the life of Michael Myers. It's a decent and different take on the Halloween franchise. It's not terrible, but I think the original is better. The movie gets a 6.1 out of 10 on IMDb and a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, which puts it right at a 6.05 on the median score. Want to catch up on your Richard Pryor flicks? Here's one you might enjoy. The next movie on the list is Moving, starring Richard Pryor. Moving was released in 1988 and stars Richard Pryor as Arlo Pear, a mass transit engineer who gets fired and has to move to a new town. There are better Richard Pryor movies out there, but the ratings on this aren't too bad. A 64% on Tomatoes and a 6.2 on IMDb, giving it a 6.3 median score. Okay. Every movie from here on out gets a thumbs up from me as an essential watch, which means I would say you really gotta see these movies. They're really great. The ones before are just okay, just not as essential or recommended. So here we go. The next on the list for movies leaving Tubi is Cheech and Chong's Next Movie from 1980, starring of course Cheech Marin and Tommy Chong. It's the sequel to the debut film Up in Smoke. Next movie follows the antics of Cheech and Chong and Cheech's long-lost cousin Red, also played by Cheech Marin. Here's an interesting fact about Next Movie. As the Blues Brothers was being filmed in a nearby lot, Dan Aykroyd was given the director's chair by Tommy Chong to shoot the urination out the window scene. Also a really few good cameo appearances. For example, Paul Rubin. I guess you either love or hate Cheech and Chong films, but they're always a fun watch though. I'm giving it a thumbs up as an essential comedy watch. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and watch it and enjoy it. It's fun. IMDb gives it a 6.1, while Rotten Tomatoes has an audience score of a 7.0, or 70%, sorry. Sadly, giving this movie a median score of 6.6. I'm still thumbing it up. Next movie on the list is Bubba Hotep, a comedy horror directed by Don Coscarelli and starring Bruce Campbell. Elvis Presley wakes up in a nursing home in East Texas. There's not much to say about this plot except thumbs up. I get a 7 on IMDb and a 79% on Rotten Tomatoes, giving it a median score of 7.5, which isn't too bad. And hey, yeah, any movie that got Bruce Campbell in it is worth watching. Next movie on the list is Invasion of the Body Snatchers, a 1978 science fiction film starring Kiefer Sutherland, a health inspector who realizes that people's bodies are starting to be overtaken by aliens. Oh, you mean it's a documentary? Like They Live. The movie gets an 82% score on Rotten Tomatoes and a 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb. This gives it a median of 7.8. Thumbs up. And finally, the highest score of the month for movies leaving Tubi on February. The Big Lebowski, a 1998 comedy with Jeff Bridges, John Goodman, Steve Buscemi, and a bunch of other great performers. The movie was directed by the Coen brothers. There is much stylistic cinematography here, and the plot is good, and so are the performances. It's a good time. Yes, I've seen it. I give this my recommendation and thumbs up. I was surprised to find out that a lot of other people really like this movie like I do. Scores for Lebowski are an 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb and a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, giving us our highest rating score of this month, an 8.7 median score. So, what do you guys think? Are these scores accurate? How would you rate these movies? Leave a comment, like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all.